Hey, everybody, welcome back. I'm here with a Marine recon um, veteran. I mean, how cool is that? He's been a base jumper. We learned about that in the first episode. This guy is one of a kind. I'm super thankful to be in his network. Colin, thanks for being here tonight, man.
Thanks for having me. Like I said
Yeah,
in the last episode too, I'm really grateful, and it's been awesome to connect with you too. I'm learning a lot at the same time, so I appreciate it.
yeah, you're welcome. This has been one of the out of the gate um, most fun I've had on one of these things yet, and I'm super excited about it. I'm super excited to just authentically share that I'm going off my own brand tonight. Like I have like this little image that I'm creating of what I'm kind of known for in my image of my podcast. I was like trying to create my own brand, and that's what we're going to talk about a little bit in this episode is
Yeah.
brand. And I thought it'd be kind of rad to represent your brand through this episode.
Yeah.
One episode at a time. Get it?
Well done. Well done. Well done. I didn't think of that one. Well done.
I just made that
Yeah.
one up.
Yeah. One episode at a time. Nice.
Yeah. Hey, Colin, I always try to get a little bit of a wild card question for
Yeah.
people. And, because I like people's personalities to come out. So we're going to start with that one. It's
Okay.
completely unscripted. But if you could assemble a group of fictional, like made up characters, nonfiction characters, whatever it is, a group of people, you could fill a roster of yourself and four others.
Okay.
No, we'll
Ooh.
go three because four gets a little too long.
Okay.
Who would it be?
Well, what are we gonna do? What's the
Ooh,
objective? But it's going to help me build my team. I like if we're going to go like pitch an idea to Shark Tank, it's definitely going to drastically change from like some sort of military operation. So
well, I didn't expect you to come back at me with a question so quick.
yeah, yeah, or you can use yeah. I just want to make sure I get it right.
Well, there's no right or wrong.
Okay,
Um, here's the objective. The objective is
okay,
to um, to take a God, now you're putting me on the spot.
we could just say it's to. I can tell you where my head went. I can just go with
Okay,
it
yeah.
because
Like, what is the
as
first
soon
thing
as
to
you're
come to your
saying it,
mind?
it was so weird. I was thinking Gandalf. So probably we're at this point. The objective is we're taking the ring to Mordor, to destroy it. But that can be the mission or the objective. But yeah,
Okay,
for some reason
yeah,
I was like, Gandalf would be great because he's wise. He's very thoughtful, but he's got some skills. So
yeah.
Gandalf from Lord of the Rings would be one of them. Second one would probably be Deadpool because also you can't be serious all the time, so you're gonna need some comedic relief. So
Yeah.
yeah, that that would probably be another one. And I'm just using movie characters. Um, hmm, one more for a team. Morgan Freeman because he's been
Oh,
in a lot of sick movies, but also if you need some narration too, like that's
he's got the
amazing.
best voice for
Yeah.
narration.
He played a god in the movie, right? So like whatever character he
Yeah,
wants to pull through, but yeah, you can't go wrong. So it's Gandalf, Deadpool, and Morgan Freeman. So and
that's a pretty
he's just
epic
a real life
cast.
person. So yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay, that's
yeah.
that's a really good one.
And we'll
Um,
definitely take a long time to get there because it's going to be so fun along the way. So
yeah,
yeah,
m- that's rad. I can just see Gandalf right now with the staff going,
yeah.
"You shall not pass."
It's just I don't know. I was thinking, yeah, I don't know why he came to my head immediately when you were talking, but that's what it was.
Okay, wait, way to turn that back on me. That's just it's complete like useless fodder, but super
Yeah.
funny.
Well, now you
Um,
know where my head's at, so I apologize. So
no, there's no apology
yeah,
needed, man. That's great. Hey, talk to me a little bit about what like so your day job is completely
yeah,
different than being a Marine recon.
yeah,
Your day job's completely different than doing the ATA stuff.
yeah,
I don't want to go into the day job stuff. We're gonna just talk
yeah,
about our passions
yeah,
and kind of the military stuff. Um, because we could both go on diatribes of what we do with our day jobs.
yeah.
Um, I want to dissect a little bit further of, maybe some of your military experience and that transition again, right? Because a lot of people
Yeah,
struggle with that, and um, I like to show that intersection, talk about it in that transitional hurdle.
yeah,
But
yeah,
one thing that people lose through that transition is their identity,
yeah,
right? And like, it's hard because we talked about in the first episode that you and I both started at a really young age,
yeah,
and that becomes the fabric of who we are. And um that mindset becomes a huge thing. Um as we talk about your experience in the Marine Corps and what you became, this recon Marine, like, that's a tough role.
yeah,
Can you talk about, like, this isn't one of the scripted
yeah,
roles,
yeah.
or the questions that I have for you, but as you were exiting active duty, did you find that transition a soft land or a
Yeah.
hard land?
I think it was like a delayed landing, honestly, because I got out. I wasn't quite ready to get out, but I knew I wanted to start going to school. I knew an education was important for me. So I went straight into the reserves. And I think in a lot of ways that like delayed me having to really face the music. And I think you're
Mhm,
absolutely right. You said it so perfectly. Like my identity was I was a Marine, and it was something I never thought about the complexities with that, right? So I get out in 2012 off of active duty into the reserves, started going to school, ended up doing a total of three more deployments through the reserves, and finished my degree online, kind of throughout that. But it really just delayed the inevitable of having to face the music, I would say. And along the way, I kind of, started picking up anxiety, started picking up, panic attacks and other mental health issues. And I never, really dealt with them. I just kind of kept putting band-aids on things, same with this whole
mhm,
delayed landing, and until finally just what is the term? The brakes fell off, right? Like I hit complete rock bottom, and I guess I didn't really know why. And I think it was because, what I thought I was and maybe what I was, even though what I was wasn't bad, what I thought I was in reality, because I thought, I'm Colin Creech, the recon Marine, or something, or Colin Creech, the
yeah,
base jumper. And in reality, I think what helped me get back on track, besides just, having the most amazing therapist in the world, Dr. Britt, she's the best, Dr. Brittany Lashua. But was really starting to rethink, like, okay, like that was a very clear purpose, and I think that's what a lot of people deal with, and that's always a struggle. Is like in the military there's such a huge purpose, whether you agree with whatever how the military is being used. That's not why we joined, right? We joined to serve in the military and serve our country. We don't get to decide the rest. And when you get out, that higher purpose is sometimes missing for a lot of people. And so
mhm,
for me, I had to figure out who I was really, but also at the same time I knew, okay, what's my purpose going to be. And so I think that's where for me I really figured out, like, I want to help other people. And some of the ways I know how to help other people is, well, I can volunteer in my community, or with
yeah,
ADA, when I first got connected with Mike Sorelli earlier this year, I just loved everything about it because it was everything I'd been working on. Our pillars are mental, spiritual, physical. And that was literally all I had been pretty much doing for a year straight at that point, because I had gotten sick, and, it was mental health. And I figured out one of the ways to get back from that was just really practicing healthy habits, but also I had a really awesome community that I was surrounded by. And so when I first met Mike Sorelli and I learned about ADA, I was like, this is literally all the things that have helped me get back from the darkest place in my life where I almost didn't escape. So that was a long story short, but yeah, leaving the military, you're losing a big part of yourself, and what is that? What are you going to fill that with? And it'll never be the same, but it could be something better, just and different, right? Like
yeah,
life
yeah, I
continues to
totally get it.
move, and we change with different seasons too.
Yeah, I dude, hey, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
And that's not easy, and it takes courage to share that. And
Yeah.
um, I got
Yeah.
some courage right here for you, bud.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
I created this company right here because of my own struggles.
Yeah.
And tonight's not about me. We'll save that for another time. But
Yeah.
um, that's what courage is about.
Yeah.
Being able to do what you just did, to share those moments and understand that it's okay, um, to say, hey, I need help.
Yeah.
And so I'm proud of you.
Thank you. I'm proud of you
And
too. I'm really
thanks. And
thankful you're here too. Otherwise, we couldn't
that's
have this awesome convo.
yeah, because you're a success story. You're
Yeah.
a success story. So, um, awesome.
Thank you.
But that I'm gonna transition out
Yeah.
before I'm gonna transition out of this one just real quick. I'm gonna pull us back up.
Yeah.
Um, that creates a brand,
Yeah.
right? And that creates your own personal brand. That becomes part of your new identity. That
Yeah.
becomes who you are. You find your passion. You find your purpose,
Yeah.
and that sets a new level for you of what do you mean for your excellence, your resilience, right? You learn what resilience actually means up here
Mm.
in a completely different way.
Yeah.
And in here, can you talk to me about how that changed your perspective maybe a little bit?
Yeah. I think for me, and I think something I've seen with a lot of veterans too, is we're so hard on ourselves, and I think one thing I learned along with this journey, with resilience too, is grace and having, grace and patience with yourself. I think I just kept pushing myself. I was like, oh, you're a force recon Marine, like you need to do this, but like, you know, being a force recon Marine and replying to emails are two very different things, and they're for very different reasons too, right? And they can both be amazing, but I think having that grace and patience with yourself, that this is a next chapter of your life, is really important. I think because you can be harder on yourself all day long. It's not going to make, in some cases, this is my opinion, but being hard on yourself may not make your mental health problems go away, right? And having some of that grace and patience, like this is a healing journey, and part of that maybe maybe hardcore exercise, because that's what brings you joy and healing too, or it might be spending a lot of time in a therapist's office, like figuring it out, how did I get here, and kind of
Mm,
rewriting that mental script for yourself.
yeah. That's really good that you share
Yeah.
that, because it's not not everyone's path is the same, right?
Mm.
And one of the things that really resonated with me about this brand,
Yeah.
in which helped me get connected to you,
Yeah.
was the one step at a time.
Yeah.
We've all said it, right? Like we've all been
Yeah.
like, "Hey man, just take it one step at a time."
Yeah.
And like, duh. Like it's an awesome brand.
Yeah.
And what I think of when I think about you and what I've got to know about you, and um besides just being a rad dude, is your personal brand lives up to it,
Mm.
right? And so when I think about that mindset, that drive, and
Yeah.
that leadership, and how things like this just align, this ADA. I'm going to call it a thing right now,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
it's not a thing. It's a culture. It's a community.
Yeah.
It's it's a movement.
Yeah.
Literally, no pun intended.
No.
Um, it's an extension of what you demonstrate. It's an extension of your personal brand,
Yeah.
and it's an extension of, you know, Mike's a part of it, right?
Yeah.
And
He's a
it's an
founder.
extension of him.
Yeah.
And he um and so I think it's rad that we're representing it tonight.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the lighting might be off a little bit. This is, yeah, there you go, put it on.
Oh, here we go. So there we go.
There you go. Yeah, we're twinning. My
Hell
kids
yeah.
have been like, oh, we're twinsing.
Got some good lighting in there. So
Uh, um it might be too bright. I might have to,
no, it's
anyway.
good. Yeah.
um but it's a really good example of how brands can shift. Here's the moral of the story: a brand can shift, pivot, change, and evolve over time.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to get to here.
Yeah.
Is because your brand fabric was just military when you
Yeah.
started. It adapted when the market conditions changed,
And
right?
I would say the
Call
market conditions being my, my mindset. Yeah.
right. And that's the leadership moment here. That is the
Mhm.
personal leadership moment of that philosophy is your brand, that leadership, Colin's brand changed. That fabric of you. I've reflected on this myself and your that that moment that you went through, your brand changed.
Yeah.
And it adapted to the new Colin 2.0, right?
Take
But
it. Yeah.
you still got the software of Colin 1.0, right?
Yeah.
You're better,
Yeah. And
right? And
I think one thing, sorry to interrupt, but I think one thing I've
no,
thought about, I don't know where the quote came from, but it's like what got you here may not be the thing that gets you to the next level. And I think I think it's what helps you get through, you know, different trainings in the military, because there's a lot of growth there. And then, in the last year and a half of my life, it's been the thing that has, helped me kind of reshape how I'm approaching life and in a more balanced way. And what's brought opportunities like this about, I think I first heard about the term corporate athlete, with my day job, the company I work for. And I didn't, I was like, corporate athlete, like, what is this? Like, I was in the Marines, like, I'm hardcore. But then I had so many amazing leaders there that really espoused it. And I think that's where I first kind of, it's like, if you're going to be able to operate at this level every day in the corporate world, maybe you should have some sort of mindfulness technique. Maybe you should have some sort of, you know, fitness regimen. Maybe you should think about your sleep. You're not just going to show up and be, firing all circuits. Like, you got to get the right amount of sleep. And then, when I went through, the lowest point of my life, and it started on that healing journey, is where I started, also really living into the physical and mental and spiritual practices. And then, when I met Mike Sorelli, and I was like, oh my God, you got this thing that I've literally been which brought me back from the darkest moment of my life, and I'm so grateful he trusts me with it. But it's also something that, for me, you're talking about my brand, the company's brands, but I think a lot of them, especially our pillars, mental, spiritual, and physical, are just daily reminders for me and practices. Like, okay, if I'm having a funky day, like, well, have I gone for a walk? Like, have I just sat with myself for a little bit without distractions? Or have I done some of these things? If I have or I haven't, like, it's also a reminder, like, well, let's just go for another walk. Let's get away from the computer screen for a little bit. And it's been awesome at the same time, because we're rocking the gear tonight, but it's a daily reminder for me. I was before the podcast, I was like, we could, if you want, we could maybe do it like Monday morning, whatever. You're like, yeah, let's do it. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. It's not midnight, so it's not that late, everybody. But then I was like, well, you know what would be really good for me? What if I go for like a really good walk, and then people make fun of it, but the cold plunge too. And man, I felt instantly awesome, and I felt really excited and rejuvenated for this evening. But old Colin, who knows what he would have done, right? You just binge watch Netflix till the show, and that's not going to help you show up and
yeah,
represent Zach or Colin this evening.
yeah, that's rad.
Yeah.
By the way, thanks for being flexible in your schedule,
Oh no.
because
Yeah. I'm a
we've been
baby. I like
trying.
to go to sleep now, but this is still early. It's perfect.
Yeah, we're getting old.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, for sure.
anyway, Colin, I think that's an
Yeah.
awesome
Yeah.
conversation about mindset, brand, and philosophy. And I honestly didn't know where this one was going to go. I
Yeah.
didn't like. I think it's a little bit of personal and professional. Um, I'm really excited about what we just talked about for people to hear because it's real.
Yeah.
Um, and it's authentic. It doesn't get any more real than this. And for the people listening on this is as real as it gets. Um, Colin's a good dude. Um, Colin.
Zach's a good dude too.
Anyway, um,
Yeah.
Colin, I actually forgot. I got so excited
Okay.
to do this on episode one. I'm
The
breaking all
rule.
my own rules. So we're gonna do it
Okay.
here. Colin, what can we do to lift you up?
Yeah, I think what what would help me live into my purpose is if anybody that's listening to this does something for themselves today, and it's not selfish, but truly believe it'll help you show up even better for those around you that you care about. So if it's something, whether it's spiritual, mental, physical, do that little thing for yourself. Take that one step at a time, whether it's a physical step or maybe it's a mental step. That would mean a lot to me, and that would lift me up.
Awesome. Hey, everybody. You heard it here from Colin. This was question number 2 out of question number 5. Stick with us. We're going to be back for question number 3 out of question number 5 on Leaders Lead. Colin is an amazing dude. He's an awesome guest to have here. We're excited to keep clicking into this. I mean, it gets real here on Leaders Lead. Colin, thanks for sticking with us. We'll be back for question number 3. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.